So today we're going to talk about this idea of how you find career satisfaction along with a little happiness. And we've got Bunny Bruning, a master professional tennis coach. Bunny spent 42 years, give or take, teaching and coaching tennis at the Wakanda Club in Des Moines, Iowa. She also certifies and trains other tennis and pickleball coaches all throughout the Missouri Valley. I have to read this because there's a lot here. Prior to doing her career at Wakanda, she was a WTA touring professional, and she's competed in Wimbledon several times, the US Open, Australian Open, and the French Open, and she achieved the ranking of 41st in 1977. So she's accomplished a lot. So Bunny has been through a lot of sort of iterations and phases in her life, and over the course of that time, she's become a nationally renowned coach, tennis coach, with many accolades under her belt. Some of them include, for example, just last year, Bunny won the Champions of Equality for Missouri Valley. That was 2024. Also in 2024, she was inducted into the Iowa Hall of Fame for USTA. And about a month ago, she got the RSPA, formerly known as USPTA, award for Iowa Pro of the Year. So I've known Bunny since high school, which is way too many years ago to tell you the exact number. And I've seen a lot of the changes she's gone through. And I wanted to have her talk to us about some of those changes and how they happen, because she's actually come from somewhat difficult beginnings, which makes her story more interesting, I think. And she's shown that it's possible to come from a difficult childhood and become both successful and happy in spite of those problems, and maybe in some ways because of them. So I'm sure that that's not to say that your life has been perfect or that you're happy every minute of the day. But I think she would say overall that her life's gotten better and better from those difficult times as a child and a teen, and that she has achieved a fair amount of life and career satisfaction. Would you say that's fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's talk to Bunny today, for the sake of others, I suppose, about some of what it took to get to where she is now. So Bunny, let's start by having you say hello.
Hello.
And she's a little bit funny and silly. So Bunny, can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, like what your childhood and teen years were like?
Well, I was born in Germany, in Bremerhaven, Germany, and then I was adopted by an American couple. My mom was fully German. She's from Alsace-Lorraine, and she came over to the country when she was, I believe, 17 years old, before the World War II got really crazy in Germany. And my dad was born in the States from a German family and was raised in Brooklyn, New York. So we moved around a lot because he was in the military at first. So because we moved around like about every year and a half, 2 years, I never really got a lot of friends that stayed with me. I didn't form connections very well. I mean, that was kind of rough. I remember crying over a car that we had to get rid of because I was just, anything that we had to leave behind, I would cry about, even if it was a car. So the memories from ages 3 to 5 started getting a little bit more turbulent, with negativity from my mother, and starting of some abuse and hurtful things that were said to me and done to me, and that kind of started off my my life of trauma, and emotionally, mentally, and physically.
Okay. So what would you say that, so at what age did you start playing tennis?
I was just 2 months shy of 11 years old.
And would you say that tennis helped you kind of with what you were going through? Was it a distraction? Was it something you loved and so it helped? Or how would you say it kind of became a part of your life? And was it like a positive or a negative?
Well, at first I loved sports, and we didn't have organized sports for females back then, but I liked to play in the yard or the park, and so I started playing tennis, and it was really something I loved to do because one, it was fun, I loved sports, and two, I could get out of the house, and being in the house was scary. So it was a lot of fun in the beginning until I started playing tournaments. And then it became a negative thing because if I didn't win, I was in trouble, and the abuse got worse. And it continued after matches, and it continued with school and grades and everything. And I didn't have a lot of friends. Actually, Ruby was one of my only friends I had during high school, and she actually really saved me. And because she was fun to be with, and my mom actually let her be with me, and which was not done a lot. So I really enjoyed her company, and that's why I'm loyal to her to this day.
Oh, so sweet. So at some point, though, so tennis was a pro and a con for you,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point, you had to turn it into a positive for you, and I assume that happened because you've dedicated yourself to it. So how did tennis become a positive for you?
Well, it stayed kind of positive, negative through my pro career, except when I was overseas, which was another escape from being close to my parents. And but then when I got through playing, I still had I had acquired PTSD, and so I would get triggered by a lot of different things, and even into my work life. So a friend got me into therapy in Des Moines. So I was in and out of therapy for about 10 years, learning a lot. I read a lot of books. I studied a lot because I really didn't know who I was. I had a lack of identity. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know who I was. I mean, I was really codependent on other people. And so I had to figure this all out. And that started to help. And then just maturing with some really good friends helping me was a positive.
So the therapy was so crucial for you to not to get over the PTSD, or to at least work through it, and to keep so that tennis didn't become like a negative thing, so it could become something positive, which it already had some positive aspects, but
Right.
very cool. And so at some point in your pro teaching career, you began to focus on working. So you have worked so many years at the Wakanda Club,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like for the most part you loved that. It
Yeah.
wasn't just tennis, but you were able to like do business. And tell us a little bit about just the different things you were able to put together, not just tennis wise, but when you worked at Wakanda.
Mm-hmm. Well, in my 30s when I was there, I really hated tennis because of all the memories. I didn't follow tennis. I just taught because that's what you do when you're a rookie instructor. You just teach what you know. And as I got through that and I got more into therapy and I matured, it started to turn around. Even my relationship with my mom started to become better because I actually was working on it. And then I found a good partner, which I still have today after almost 35 years, who understood, was going through her own stuff, but we have an interdependent relationship, which is really great because I can do my thing, she can do hers. We can come together and support each other. And that really helped. And I started to not only pivot in my life, but pivot in my work. And what I mean by that is tennis taught me resilience. And it taught me a lot of life skills because I didn't get life skills taught to me. I had to learn them through tennis. So some mental toughness, some resilience. And then through joining the RSPA, I gained a lot of tennis education.
And what is the RSPA?
It's-
I will talk about that later too.
Racket Sport Professional Association, because we certify many racket sports, not just tennis.
And it used to be called.
USPTA.
Okay, cool.
And so, through networking and connections and education and conferences and talking to people, I started to gain some confidence back in my life and in my work. And then I started to, again, pivoting into other things I wanted to learn, like mental toughness and footwork and fitness and high performance teaching and 10 and under teaching and cardio and all sorts of different things, which started giving me more joy.
And also it sounds like you also did the marketing and the business, which added to your skill set. And
I owned the pro shop. So buying and selling and marketing events, creating lots of different things. I tell people that I am creative and I can put together different events quickly and with some marketing, and they're a lot of fun. And I think the members at Wakana enjoyed all of that while I was there, and I had a good time doing it. I had a good time learning to create things that people had fun with, and I started realizing that I was actually caring for the members. That part of my job really was taking care of the people that came to do events and get taught tennis and enjoy that part of the facility at the club.
So it wasn't just about the tennis, your career. It sounds like, because we've talked about this before, the way you worked with the kids and stuff, it became more about, in a way, like maybe mentoring them in bigger ways than just their tennis game?
Well, what was interesting is, because I just started liking myself more and therefore liked other people more and could talk to them. And the teenagers started to come in, little kids, big kids, even parents started sitting on my couch in my office, which turned out to be almost a therapy couch. There was a lot of tears, a lot of laughter, a lot of words spoken, a lot of stories told, very sincere stories by some of the kids, and they wanted time. They would book an hour and a half of time with me 2-3 times a week just to talk over some things. And I would, of course, call their parents and ask, is this okay that we're talking about the deepest things that are coming out of their mouths about their lives? And they said, yeah, that's why we sent him to you, because he needs to talk to somebody.
That's so neat.
Kids are talking about, suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts and just anxiety and pressure and lack of confidence.
But do you think your own childhood made you somebody that could talk about these things? Like, if you hadn't gone through what you've been through, you probably wouldn't be that person to them. So I'm not that you necessarily talk to them about that, but that just because of your experiences, it made you so much more compassionate and sort of knowledgeable about things they could try or how they might approach something.
Absolutely. I think I connected well because, one, I listened really well to them, and I didn't we closed the door, we weren't interrupted, I wasn't on a phone. I looked at them straight in the face and showed expression, which was hard for me to do because it's hard for me to sometimes feel emotion since I can shut it down. But I would connect with them because I would share some of my story, not a lot, but bits and pieces that were that equated to their stories, and then they learned that they could trust me because we're in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, I think I'm better for it.
So this is something other people can probably take with them from this interview or this story, that sometimes the things that happen to us that are bad or perceived as bad can later turn out to be helpful, and that the building of resilience can turn out to be helpful in helping other people and becoming really good at what you're doing. So let's so you've retired and you are embarking on the next chapter. Last
Third chapter.
Last night I accidentally called it your last chapter, but that wasn't nice because we're not that old, right?
No, we're young at heart.
We're young at heart. So tell us what you're up to now and what you're going to be doing in your retirement, at least for now, in your third chapter.
Right. So I retired November 15th of last year from my position at Wakanda Club. I still do a little teaching on the side. I still run the summer West Des Moines Park and Rec camps, but my main focus is on a nonprofit group I formed over a year ago called WCRS, Women Coaching Racket Sports. And we have an agreement with the RSPA now. They help us a little bit with marketing and support, and we collab with a lot of other groups like the ITA, the USTA, high school coaches, college coaches, communities, etc. And what our mission is basically to try and acquire more females into coaching racket sports, tennis for sure, and also other racket sports. It's important that more females get into coaching because there's such a lack of females, and we need more because they connect better really with other girls and sometimes boys as well, because they understand females better. And I can go into a whole speech about that, but we don't have time for that today. But it's really my passion, and we have a 17-person board all over the country, and right now we're trying to get speakers in various conferences and workshops, and we're forming women's leadership summits all over the country. We should have about 6 of them, I think, by the end of the year somewhere in the country. So
is there a website we can go to?
Not yet. We have a website up, but we have to put some content in it. Right now we're posting on Instagram and Facebook under WCRS, and just doing a lot of groundwork right now. So hopefully at the end of this year we'll have some results and moving forward, and I hope to also get our tax designation in the next couple of months as well.
That's fantastic. So I think that's all we have for today. You have been listening to the wondrous and illustrious Bunny Bruning, and maybe we'll talk with you again.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Rube.